welcome to Capital Combat. The name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch.
Rob Gerald.
And today we're going to preview this Saturday's Fox boxing broadcast. That's network TV. It is awesome because this week we got big time boxing on Fox. Next week we got big time boxing on CBS. And before I hit record, I was saying this is the first time in my pretty young life that we've had two network television boxing broadcasts featuring big names. Because they stopped doing it back in like the 80s when I was a kid. So this is a big deal. But in this Fox card, we've got Tony Harrison versus Jarrett Hurd for the IBF 154 title. We have Deontay Wilder versus Gerald Washington for Wilder's WBC belt. Then we have Dominic Brazil fighting, what's his name?
Izu Goma.
There you go. Personally, I have not seen, and I know nothing about this guy. And from what I know of Brazil, I don't really like what I see. So this one I'm just gonna have to watch and find out about it with the rest of you guys.
Well, I've seen Izu Goma a few times. He hasn't really fought anyone great or note. So Brazil would be his biggest fight to date, which should say quite a bit. But the guy, very heavy-handed, knockout artist. He's 17-0, 14 knockouts. I think Brazil is like 18-1 or 17-1, with that one loss being to Anthony Joshua. In a very spirited but one-sided affair because Brazil just did not have the talent. He's never really had the talent, but he's a pretty tough individual. And ever since his last fight, which was the loss to Joshua, which was back during the summer, right?
Yeah.
There's two things I hope that he has done. One, better shape. I understand these are heavyweights. It doesn't matter what size you come in at. But he should, and he's a former football player, and you'll see in the telecast with Gerald Washington, who was also a former, both of them D1 football players, the difference in their body types. I would have liked to see Brazil say, hey, let me tighten up, let me get in better shape. It goes a long way. I'm not saying he has to have a six-pack, but what I'm saying is that you can't carry that mixed session weight because you don't have the same movement. And it may help with taking some punishment, but you still want to have that movement, you want to have that quickness. With him, sharpen up the skills, work the jab, keep your hands up, better movement. That's what I want to see with him, to see what kind of improvement he's had with that time off. Did he go back, take a look at what he's doing with Joshua, say, hey, I can improve in these areas, let me work on it, and hey, let me get my condition under control, because he's made it to the final bell. He's knocked quite a few guys out, but you can see him slow down, especially against guys who are in better shape than him, like Amir Mansour, Anthony Joshua. It's someone else's name that I can't think of at the moment, but as a heavyweight, one punch can end anything, or it can change the course of a fight.
Yeah.
So it's going to be good. I actually think I want to say Ugono's going to win, but I think it depends on the experience level because, again, Brazil has greater experience than Ugono.
Yeah. So thank you for that, Rob. We're going to go into the next fight, which is between Tony Harrison and Jarrett Hurd. Now, Jarrett Hurd is someone who's from our area, the DMV area, and Accokeek, Maryland. But so that's a little bit north of us. But anyway, I see him fight a few times, and he has gotten much better every time I've seen him.
Especially his last fight with Jojo Dan. He showed quite a bit. No, his last two fights, Jojo Dan and Oscar Molina.
Yeah, so in those fights, he showed an ability to fight competently on the outside and on the inside, and show a lot of old school tricks that you don't see a lot of people get taught anymore, especially in the urban areas of boxing hotbeds. So that's a credit to him wanting to learn that. and a credit to his coach for teaching that. So against Harrison, he's going to need all of that because I believe Harrison is a bigger guy.
They're about the same size.
They're about the same size. But he's more of an outside fighter than I would say Hurd is. Hurd can be on the inside and be very confident that he's there and put good work in while he's there. Whereas Harrison, I think, is more suited to being on the outside and working off of longer range punches, where Hurd can do that as well. Now, that's not to say that he will defeat him easily because of that. I think Hurd still has his hands full because Harrison is a powerful guy. Harrison also can set his punches up well, whereas he can bait you into making mistakes. And even in his loss to Willie Nelson, he shows you that he's a tough guy, and it's going to take a lot to get him out of there. So if Hurd is able to do so, it would be a huge feather on his cap to do that in that fashion and win a title, if you kind of follow where I'm going with that. I think this is going to be a tough battle. I think a lot of the rounds are going to be close because both guys like to sharpshoot and make their punches count. But I think Hurd is a little bit more active, but we haven't seen if he can dig deep and pull something out when the scorecards are in doubt or he may be behind. And I think that's something we will find out this Saturday.
Yeah, these two guys are basically in that same mold of the taller 154-pounders, like the Charlo brothers, Demetrius Andre, Willie Nelson, the two of them. They're both about 6'1"-ish. They have a pretty long reach, I think about 76 to 77-inch reaches for both of them. And they're both fairly tough. The difference is, like you said, Harrison likes to fight on the outside. I think he's more of the fast twitch, trying to place his shots and can put those combinations together, but really can't fight on the inside all that well. You can see against a guy who's as tough, if not tougher than him, as in Willie Nelson, and return fire, that's where he started to have trouble and he lost form. Whereas Hurd is a lot more relaxed and a lot more fluid. Even though he gets caught up against the ropes a little bit more than I would prefer that he does, his punches really have where you really can't time it. Because
there's no tell.
Yeah, there's no tell with them. And I'm not talking about that Kovalev, I'm shooting straight from the shoulder, boom, it's kind of like, where's it coming? He's constantly moving, he's getting on the inside, works left to right, or even from the outside, there's no way to really keep track of where they're coming from. And he kind of hits you almost unexpectedly. He did that versus Joe Jordan, where Joe Jordan was just not expecting the punch as he was going to attack. And I think him being in that relaxed state will help him against Tony Harrison. I think he edges it out if he can stay defensively responsible.
Yes.
And to be honest, I would like to see him apply the pressure. Even though I know he can fight on the back foot, I would like to see him apply the pressure and bury up his shots. Harrison, on the other hand, can't lose form. He can't get mentally out of the fight. And I think that's something that if he can't put someone away, or if he doesn't at the times that he's not having success, or he's not, again, against Willie Nelson, not really able to put the guy down or put him down but not out, to just stay in the fight.
Right.
And it's a lot of fighters that if they can't do what they want, or they can't get them out of there, they're not having the sort of success that they prefer, then it's kind of like, okay, what do? I start backing up, or I start making mistakes.
Right.
And I'm looking for, like you said, again, with Hurd, he kind of does those little things and those old school tricks, and I think that's going to frustrate Harrison toward the end, but I think Harrison wins the early rounds. I really think he's going to come out and try to make a statement. I think he's going to win at least maybe 4 of the first 6 rounds possibly. But they're not going to be easy rounds by no means.
Right. And one of those old school tricks is what you were talking about, where Hurd moves his body, his whole upper body, and tries to create angles for his shots. And I think if he can get that going earlier, like Rob said, he thinks Harrison will win the early rounds. And if that happens, that means he can't get that rhythm going quite yet. Once he gets into that established rhythm, I do think that he can be able to take over that fight on the mental level that Rob was just describing and be able to squeak out a close decision.
And it's a good example of that was the Oscar Molina fight, because he hit, I didn't think he had that kind of an uppercut, but he hit Molina with a hellacious uppercut. And it was just, he got into the rhythm that he wanted to get into and started doing exactly what he wanted.
Right. And that's that whole comfort level that we were talking about earlier, where he's relaxed, he's flowing, he's just allowing the fight to what's the word I'm looking for here? So many words he's trying to let the fight just develop and just flow in a way that he can just adjust to whatever happens and whatever his opponent does. He just acclimates himself and knows what punches to throw in that specific space at that specific moment.
And I think both guys do, I don't think they get dropped, but I think they get hurt in this fight. Maybe not dropped, but I think it's going to be a visible queer streak in some part of the round on both sides. I think these guys could definitely answer, and I think this fight is going to teach them not a lot about themselves, and it's also going to teach, give them a lot of experience, because this is for the vacant Charlo belt, because Jamal
is going
vacated his to go to middleweight, which a lot of people have been calling for a long time, but this is not the Charlo video.
Yeah, he said he was doing that anyway after what's my man, the Julian Williams fight anyway.
Right.
So it was just a formality. So now they're fighting for the full IBF title and not for the number one contender to the IBF title.
And I have to agree with somebody, a couple of people have said, this will make them a titleist, but it doesn't necessarily make them the champion of that division. I hate to say that because they will hold the belt, but we have to see him in against the other Charlo brother. We have to see him in against the Andrade. We have to see him in against, I would like to see him in against Austin Trout. Austin Trout is going to give you a hard time out anytime they fight.
Yeah, Canelo has a belt, but I believe he's going to vacate it. I believe he has a WBO belt that he won from Liam Smith.
Right.
So the actual 154-pound champ is a little in the air right now, but this will help clear it up. So let's move on to the main event, where we've got Deontay Wilder returning from a victory over Chris Arreola and also injuring his hand and tearing his bicep against Gerald Washington, who was a late replacement for what's his name? It's like
Warwowski, a Polish guy who got hit for PEDs.
Yes. So he's out of the picture.
And
Gerald Washington comes in.
Which is weird because it's been a lot of fighters against Wilder have been popped for PEDs, and that was by VADA.
Yes.
And if you know VADA, yeah. And people who have, they're the top echelon of drug testing.
And even with USADA, like you see in the UFC, a lot of guys are getting caught taking things, and even inadvertent things where it's just like a small amount. Everyone is stepping up their testing, and you're going to get caught.
Sorry about that. We're in the garage, and we had to open up the door for some light. So if you hear all the sounds, I should have said this earlier, that's why.
Yeah, it's all good. So we know what we got from Wilder. He's a range fighter who likes to land that long right hand, but he can land a left hook every now and then as well.
And he's getting better with his jab.
Yes. His footwork isn't completely there yet. No one's been able to take advantage of that. And I don't think this is the fight it's going to happen. He makes a few technical flaws in his punching that, like I said, won't be taken advantage of in this fight. But he has knocked out all but one of his opponents. And that's what I expect here. And the reason I expect that is because Washington is a very good fighter. He's a good fighter and he's a prospect, but one, he's taking this fight on short notice. Two, his temperament is not one of a fighter that would give Deontay Wilder problems. He's a counter puncher. He likes to sit back, wait on openings, and then take shots. And then it has to be perfect in order for him to take the shot. Like as you see with like Amir Mansour, there were a lot of opportunities for him to land that he didn't. So I see kind of like what's Anthony Joshua's last fight. Who did he fight? Where like the guy pretty much gave almost no resistance.
Oh, that was oh God, I can't even remember.
Yeah,
it's probably unimportant.
It's kind of important. It was a title defense. I just can't remember the guy's name.
Was it Molina?
Yes.
It was Eric Molina.
Eric Molina. So I think that's what's going to happen is Wilder's going to catch him while Washington is waiting on that perfect shot.
Yeah.
So I don't expect this to go long. Maybe 4 rounds tops. And Wilder putting himself in position for a big unification with Anthony Joshua if he can get past Vladimir Klitschko.
And if they don't try to make the Vivek fight again.
Which I doubt will happen.
But the thing about this with Wilder, because again, he has a very long reach. Actually, both of them have a long reach. I think Wilder was about an 84-inch reach, which is extremely long arms. He's about a hair taller than Washington, even though Washington has the size and probably the athleticism advantage because he is an ex-football player, but he doesn't have as good a movement.
Yeah. Wilder used to play basketball, right?
Yeah, but what's name was college. I don't think he. That's neither here nor there. I'm sorry.
Gotcha.
They're both collegiate athletes, but the thing about it is Washington, he's still stiff, and he doesn't have that mentality. A guy that's going to be able to take advantage of Wilder is someone who can provide very effective aggression. And of course, they would have to be left-handed. And I don't think Washington's left-handed because we saw that in the what's my Polish dude's name?
Which one?
Spilka, Arthur Spilka. He was able to give Wilder trouble, and then guys who can get on the inside, provide some pressure, able to work inside that jab and really get to Wilder. Good head movement. Washington doesn't have that mentality. Not only does he not have that mentality, he has a good jab, but he doesn't have the jab that's going to be able to keep Wilder off of him. I think Wilder has faster hands. I think he's definitely more attuned to going for the knockout, especially with that right hand. And he's been able to. Which hand did he break? He hurt the right arm.
Yeah, I think it was his right.
It was right. So he's had actually time. He was still in the gym, actually working on his jab and working on his left hook,
right.
Which that will force you to do that. And that's actually a good thing because maybe that helped him with his footwork and throwing a correct left hook. We know he throws a wide one, but if he can tighten it up and then shoot the jab and actually bring it back, that's going to spell a lot of doom for a lot of heavyweights.
Yeah. So in this one, we don't expect it to go long. Huh?
It's next door.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll just let that close down and keep the party going.
All right.
Like I said, all those things that we both mentioned leads to a short night for Deontay Wilder, and the only thing that's left is to watch it and see if that happens. And if it doesn't, we'll be back to let you know why it didn't happen, which would be fun. So I'm hoping it kind of doesn't go as we see it going, because that is a bigger learning experience for us and more stuff to break down other than, well, we already said what was going to happen and it did happen. So let's hope for a very spirited fight from both guys, something we can break down, chew up, and really get some knowledge out of.
And it's kind of exciting to see the heavyweights actually get active and see some real names actually going for it.
Right. And on network TV. So this is a win-win for the sport, unless it isn't like a DQ or something crazy like that. So let's hope that doesn't happen. And that's it, guys. Hope you like this video. Give it a thumbs up. Make sure if you haven't done so yet, hit the subscribe button so you can get all of our videos. We do put out quite a bit of them. And also, if you have any insight on any of the fighters, any thoughts that you have on how you think the fights would go, hit us up in the comment section. You know we love to talk to each other. That's what this is all about. It's a nice little conversation between us and you guys. So hit us up in the comment section. Any of our social media networks, the links are down below. And we will see you guys in the recap. Until then, fight on.
This is round one, and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and cost. My fists are on fire. I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage. Keep thinking that it's a game. I kick crime, hurricane. I told them I don't play. I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.